Hi, this is deepSPEAK. I'm Michael. This is Barbara.
Hey, Michael.
We're at the Deep Retreat. What I was going to ask you, Barbara, is being a doctor of Chinese medicine, you practiced all over Australia, very well known. I'm very lucky to have you at the Deep Retreat. Shocked, actually. But sleep, everyone really struggles with it. I've seen you turn people's lives around in the clinic. And I guess I want to know what you're telling them. How do we get the perfect sleep? Why aren't we sleeping properly? How can you help us?
Look, I think there's a lot of complex reasons why we don't, sleep as well as we might need to. And I think what happens is once we develop a sleep problem, sometimes that can become kind of embedded into our neuro kind of system. And so therefore that pattern then sometimes needs to be changed. Like, for example, I treated a woman the other day who hasn't slept or sleeps only a couple of hours a night and has done that since the birth of her child. And in talking with her about it, her child, she had a great birth basically, and her child's got great health, so there was nothing around that, but it was triggering something for her about her sense of security and safety and protection. And it's like when we start to investigate what it is that might be influencing our sleep patterns, that gives us those answers on how we can turn that around. Mm-hmm. So in that case it was actually really an emotional component.
Yeah. Okay.
Other people don't sleep well for a range of reasons. Maybe they eat late at night, and when you eat late at night, it's very difficult for your digestive system to break all that food down, and so therefore the digestive system's trying to process that food during the night, and that's going to impact on your sleep. So the sleep's actually influenced by a whole lot of bodily functions, and it's about knowing what's going on in your life. You might have had a relationship breakup, you might be under stress at work, a whole range of different factors. So it's kind of getting a background into what's going on for the person and then working at that level. It might be hormonal or endocrine influenced as well. But sometimes what happens is we've just got this pattern of sleep and we need to actually change that pattern basically.
Even if it's embedded or been there for a long time.
Yes.
So for someone that doesn't have the absolute privilege to come and have a session with you, of course they can see other practitioners, but are there a few tips, general tips, not knowing people's constitutional type or their biography or any past issues or lifestyle, that people can follow generally that would help with their sleep from a Chinese perspective?
Yeah. Okay, so certainly making sure that you eat a light meal at night, and perhaps don't eat, later than, 7 o'clock at night. I know some people might be shocked by that.
Yeah, and most people's biggest meal of the day is at 7 o'clock at night or later, and it's usually the biggest meal of the day, which is crazy, because gut health, we now know, affects your mind and therefore your sleep. So.
The other thing that's really important is, because of technology, to make sure that, at least an hour before you go to bed, that you're not having kind of any connection with TV or
Now, why is that? Why?
It's because basically that there's a big influence in terms of technology on our brain as well, because it's very stimulating. And so what we want to do before we're going to go to sleep is to actually turn that off. So we need an hour before we go to bed to make sure that we don't have the TV on. I see a lot of people these days who've got TVs in their bedroom, and they're actually watching TV before they go to bed, and they've got major sleep problems. Take the TV out of the bedroom.
Yeah, okay, that's a big hint.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
And what we want is to actually create in the bedroom a more yin and a more nourishing kind of environment. So we need lighting basically that's more calming. Think about the furnishings basically, in your environment.
And colour, I know.
Colour's really important, because red, for example, is very stimulating. Whereas blue's got a very cool quality and actually helps calm the brain.
And green, I think, as well.
And green's beautiful, and white as well.
And also, what time, people ask me, what's the ideal time to go to bed?
Well, I've got a bit of a joke with some friends, because they often go to bed after 11 o'clock. And in Chinese medicine, we have what's called a Chinese clock. When you go to bed, after that time, you're actually entering into what we call gallbladder time.
Right.
And it actually really influences, the bodily functions in terms of sleep and what's produced in the brain,
And so what time is gallbladder time that we want to avoid?
11 o'clock. So it's really good if you can be in bed and asleep before that gallbladder time. And perhaps we're going to talk about the gallbladder.
Yeah, that's another video for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So the takeaway is not to have a big meal late at night, because we want the mind to soften and relax, and we want to make sure that there's not too many stimulants and no TV in the bedroom.
Yes.
Just keep low lighting. If you're into colour, then blues and greens,
Yes.
calming, cooling, no stimulating colours. Of course, no stimulants like alcohol
Yes.
or tobacco or anything like
and
that.
the thing about those stimulants is that they create a lot of heat in the organs, particularly in the liver, and so then that heat actually rises. So, and of course that's in the upper part of the body, which keeps the mind activated as well.
Okay, so we want to cool down.
We want to cool down. We want the
Yeah.
energy to come down. Basically.
Okay. So
Yeah.
people literally go under.
Yes.
Okay, wow, that's
Yeah.
really amazing. Thank you, Barbara. Well, I hope I have a good sleep tonight.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.